congratulations on your new show, The Big D. So much fun. How has it been for you guys to see the excitement surrounding it?
We love it.
So funny.
What's interesting is I think the first best part about the show is that it hadn't really been tapped into before, right? Divorced couples finding love, kind of taboo in normal society, kind of taboo on reality dating shows, right? But I think it's probably the most relatable dating show. You got people in their 30s that have been through significant relationships that want to find love again, and the drama that we love about any dating show all pieced together. So we're excited. I think people are loving it, and we're at that little over midway point where it's starting to get real.
Yeah, that's what's funny. Jordan, I lived this. I know what happens, and I still catch myself now that we're kind of in the middle of the season. I'm like so invested. And I think that's what's great. It's like we're at the point now where we have seen people's stories build. We know about their past. We're seeing how they're moving towards their future. And like, I'm so invested. I'm like yelling at the TV now. So I'm hoping everybody's caught up, because now I'm like at the place where I'm like, I need somebody to talk about this too. You know what I mean?
I was going to say, it is so unique. It's something we've never seen before. And I think that from watching it myself, it seems like there's an element of like, you can't even script this kind of drama, because these are real raw emotions from these people, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of times we had to cut out some of the drama, right? I mean, just when you put exes together, it's not just exes that dated for a few months. Everybody was married. There was a couple in there for 14 years they were married, some a few years, some had been divorced a couple months, some had not talked at all. So there is drama there. What we love about this show, though, is having Dr. Jada there, our relationship coach, on and off camera, was huge for the cast members, just to be able to talk through some of their issues. And what I love is some of the issues that led to divorce really weren't deal breakers. And they're starting to realize if we would have just talked to somebody or had the right tools to work through this communication issue, maybe we'd still be married. And there's a few couples that are realizing that, going, I'm not sure if this is over, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, we're kind of seeing that already, as you said, at this midway point. And I love the differences in this reality show. There do seem to be elements of not just dating, but also healing and conversations and different emotions. For the two of you to see that side of this reality show, what does that mean to get to be part of that?
I think it's really cool. And when the show was first presented to us in the concept, we had it like, for a second, we were like, wait, this is about divorced couples. We obviously were about to get married. We hadn't been divorced. And so we spoke to the creators.
You're talking to the right people?
Yeah. So we spoke to the creators of the show, and we dug into like what this show at its core is really about, right? And it's like finding new love. It's about closing that chapter that maybe is stopping you from moving forward, or like figuring things out in your past that's preventing you to move into a healthy relationship, whether it's a new one or it's a rekindled one. And I think that like seeing that and being a part of that, and now that we're seeing those moments start to happen on the show, it is why I love this show, because you get, like Jordan said, you get the drama, but you're seeing all this healing and evolution and like growth, and not only individuals, but as couples in some scenarios. So it's been really cool for us to be able to witness and be a part of, and it's the part of the show that I love the most.
I love that this cast seems to have a connection. I was looking at everybody's Instagrams before speaking to you, and they're all commenting on each other's posts, hyping each other up. I know so far in the season, we've seen Casey really helping everybody, even while they're in Costa Rica. How has it been for you guys to see them become friends after this?
I love it. I don't know how you can't, right? I mean, that's what we experienced on The Bachelor and Bachelorette. Like, you create this just connection because you're doing something that is so absurd that the normal human being doesn't go through. So you create a bond over that. But I do love that the unique part about the show is they've all been through the same thing.
Yeah.
So
they're all looking for the same thing.
And they're all looking for the same. They have different experiences. They have different advice. Takur, one of the episodes, said, Casey, your advice is always terrible. Stop it. But you know what? I love the fact that they're there for each other. They're fighting for each other. They're fighting for each other to grow, to move on, to find a new relationship.
You guys both met on reality TV, and you're still one of Bachelor Nation's favorite couples. So were you giving these singles any reality TV relationship advice, or were you just kind of letting things play out?
The one thing about this show that we love more than anything, Jordan and I have hosted a couple of shows together in the past, but this is the first one that I think that we can take an experience that we shared together and insight from that to be able and share it with some of these cast members. And as hosts from day one, we always told them, like, we're not going to just be here to jump in and read some lines. Like, we want you to know that we're always here just to be a outlet, to be a shoulder, to be whatever you need, because we've been there. And like, when I was the Bachelorette, you feel isolated sometimes. You feel like you don't have just somebody to just talk to that's not involved in what's going on. And so there were so many times, like off camera, like we would go and have conversations with some of these cast members that were struggling with maybe some of the same things that we had struggled with in this sort of environment. So it was really cool for us to build that relationship with them. And I think in turn, it created like a little bit more of like a safe space for them to like open up and recognize that, like, we've been here, we've done it, we've leaned into it, and it worked for us. So how can it work for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know there are a lot of people that are skeptical about the reality TV romance working. So for you guys, and these couples are in there trying to make it work. So for you guys, what do you think made your relationship really work when you first met?
Well, we liked each other. That was a good start. No, I was thinking about reality TV, and I think people are always like, how can it work that quick, right? How can you form a connection that quick? Never in your life are you ever so solely focused on one thing. And when you're on a dating show, you're focused on why all your other relationships didn't work, what you like about this person, and that's your sole focus. You have no phones, no internet, no job to go to. So everything is very accelerated. I think it's as much a therapy session in your own head and a growth in your perspective and what you want out of life as it is meeting somebody. So I just happened to meet somebody that was amazing, and also got to a point where I looked at my life and said, oh yeah, this is what I want. Like, that's why those relationships didn't work.
And to recognize that if you want it to work, it's going to be work.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think that that's something that we dealt with very early on, and then we recognized and we worked through, and that it continues, right? Every relationship is going to be work. And so if you want it to work for the genuine reason of being together and not the pressure, because early on it's easy to come off of a reality show and think like you have to be perfect and everything has to be great. We felt that. We did feel that. But recognizing, like, for the long term, like, you have to do what's best for each of you. And I think that was something that we navigated through together, and came out on the other side.
I love that. And I think that these couples are really having to go through that now too, of course, because they're kind of going through all of that as the show plays out. What do you think now makes your marriage work, as opposed to coming off of the reality show and having, you know, so much attention and so much focus on your relationship, but now you're married, you're kind of in the swing of things. What makes your marriage work?
I would say that we obviously know that, like, that love is there. We love each other more than anything in the world. But one thing that we've always recognized, is like, you have to maintain that respect for one another, in conflict, right? It's like, it's very easy sometimes. And I think we always go back to, like, the main thing that you have to always continue to work on is communication and like what each other needs, because we will continue to change. We will evolve as human beings. I will start to need different things and want different things, and same for him. It's like just having that open, honest line of communication, and always maintaining that respect. You know what I mean? I think that's something that we've always kept to the forefront of our thoughts and our relationship. And it's something that we continue to, I think, make a focus, when we need it to be, you know?
I think also we stated it, but enjoy working together. I think that's huge, right? We enjoy being together when we're doing nothing, right? I mean, that's some of our favorite, but also, like, some of our best memories are stressful situations where we were working together, where there was a deadline, where there was lines to read, where it was a business, whatever it was, remodeling a home on a deadline and a budget, like, but we enjoyed that aspect of it. So there's a sense that we have a great relationship, but also we love doing work together.
I think it's to his point, like, always make sure you're continuing to have fun with your partner, right? Because even in the stressful times, that's very easy to start to crumble and to get tired and to get snippy, so like, to try and remember in those moments, that's normal, that's natural, but like, make time to find those fun moments together again. I think that's super important too.
That's so true. You guys obviously had a lot of pressure on you when you were going through everything. So now you kind of know how to juggle it. But speaking of being married, you just celebrated your first wedding anniversary. Anything different about being husband and wife, or does it all feel still the same, very natural?
You know, for us, time was our friend. We were together for 6 years before we eventually tied the knot. So we feel like we had felt like nothing day to day had changed for us. But there is this sense of like, just security. It's almost like this is my partner for life. This is like day to day, it doesn't change, but there is this like weird, how do you explain it? Like this unspoken, like just deeper connection and bond.
And she thought I was way sexier with a ring on. It's like every day I wear a ring. She's like,
it's a nice touch.
I hear you. I love it too. And it's really funny. I just interviewed Sarah Hyland recently, and she said almost the exact same thing about her relationship with Wells. She's like, it's not that different, but it just is like this deeper feeling. So it's great that after all this time, it's like you still can feel something new and embrace it. But 7 years ago, you got engaged.
Yes.
Crazy. I love, JoJo, when you posted the Shania Twain lyrics. That is one of my favorite songs. You're still the one. When you look back on those 7 years, what stands out in your mind? Because you guys had a lot happen.
So much has happened. What stands out? I mean, we've gone to do so much together. It kind of goes back to like Jordan's thing, like the ability to have been able to like do all the things that like remodeling homes and house renovations was a passion of mine before we met each other. And to now be able to kind of like do those things together, it's so fun. And then being able to like, he's an analyst for ESPN. I love hosting, and now we get to do those things together. And we've gone to do all these fun, amazing experiences that have really kind of created core memories for us that are really fun that we get to go back and talk about. That for most people will probably be very stressful. You know what I mean? Like, and we've done it and we've really enjoyed it. But my gosh, 7 years together there's probably so much. I
just look back, we're like, this is crazy.
It
shouldn't be like this, right? And like, how are we going to tell our kids one day that like your mom and dad were kind of cool back in the day? Like we did some cool like really cool. Look,
we hosted this show called The Big D. Yeah, what do you think about that?
Would you let your kids watch the Bachelorette season that you guys were on?
I would.
When they get old enough, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to watch myself making out with a bunch. I didn't want my family to. So yeah, when they're older, maybe we'll give them the option.
I feel that. I know you guys have been very open about wanting to start a family. Are you having baby fever, or are you enjoying that newlywed bliss?
Oh man, it's like Jordan has baby fever right now.
And if you had asked that question a year or two ago, it would have probably been the opposite.
Yeah, no, we we've always wanted kids. We talk about it often. When the right, like, I don't know if there's a time that's the right time. I just think it's gonna be all right. This feels good. Let's give it a go, and then see what happens. But we have nieces, we have nephews. We're starting to like spend a lot more time with them and have these little like visions of like what that would be like as a family, and we're excited for it when the right time comes.
No news to break.
No news to break, but
close.
It's closer.
I feel that too. My husband and I go through the same thing. We're like, oh, we have baby fever. And then we're with our nieces and nephews. We're like, isn't it so nice that we can give them back?
That is so true.
Yeah, that's great. One of my favorite stories about you guys, though, is Jordan, when you reproposed to JoJo. That went viral. Everybody loved that moment. What inspired you to want to do that?
I think it was a couple things. Like, we were open that our first year was so tough, like really tough. Like, getting married was not even in a daily, weekly conversation because we were just trying to stay together, right? We were trying to learn how to communicate, like how to make this work. We knew we wanted it to work. I always wanted to buy my own ring because, on the show, you get 3 or 4 of them put in front of you and they're gorgeous, no doubt. But I kind of liked the pressure and the stress of like picking one out and buying one, and always envisioned myself doing that. So I wanted that part of it, but also almost like a just recommitment and re-excitement for the fact that, okay, now we're through the toughest part. Now we want to plan this wedding. We're ready to plan this wedding. Because at that point, it seemed like our engagement was 5 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, when a relationship is hard, it sometimes seems like it's bleak, but we were at a point where we were hopeful, we were happy, we were ready for that next chapter of our life. And I kind of wanted that excitement of doing it again, but doing it our way with no cameras. And
most couples get engaged and they go straight into wedding planning.
Yeah.
And so we didn't really get that like kind of like excitement, roll into it. And so that was really special to me. It was like being able to, and I don't know if you know the backstory, he did it while we were venue shopping, like at one of the venues that we were looking for. So it was all played into like the wedding planning.
And it was more romantic than that. From where we were standing, you could actually see the Bachelor mansion.
Yeah, it was cute. It was really cute.
So we're sweating. We actually, we booked this place knowing that it wasn't going to be a wedding option. I knew that. And she was going, why are we looking at this place?
that place.
Yeah, but it wasn't realistic. And so we're standing there and I'm like, isn't it cool that like, just right over there a couple of years ago. And she's like, what are you doing? Like,
I'm sweating. And like, there was like the tour guide next to us. And I was like, this is a very weird moment.
And I was trying to get sentimental. And she's like, what is happening? And I got down on my knees. She's like,
it was great. It was amazing.
Oh my God, I love that. Do you still have your original ring, JoJo? So
yeah, we have that. We're going to keep it. It means so much, right? Like, that's something that like, maybe I give it to if we have our daughter one day, or just a memory for us.
I love that. Well, I have to ask you guys about the Golden Bachelor, because when that was announced, everyone was so excited. What was your reaction to seeing this new take on the franchise?
I'm stoked. I'm stoked for a number of reasons, because I think, like, the Big D, we really like the idea that divorce was kind of untouched. You haven't really seen any show kind of talk about it or showcase anybody that's been involved in it in that way. Whereas you have the Golden Bachelor, where we've never seen something like this, at people at this stage of their life looking for love again, right? And so I think it's so fresh, it's so new. And I love the idea that like, we are hopefully almost guaranteed to find a true, genuine connection out of that. And also it's going to be interesting to see what kind of drama they try to happen in that sort of show, because I don't even know. What is there to fight about? I don't know.
I'm excited for the dates they go on. Like, what kind of unique things they're going to try and do?
Are we going bungee jumping? Like, is that the crowd? We still doing bungee jumping?
Amazing.
That would be crazy. So you guys, everybody still loves you. We love following your lives on social media. Would you ever do a docu-style reality show, kind of like the Kardashians or Southern Charm? Anything you would ever join in that regard? I know you've hosted a bunch of different things, but kind of a different reality show.
I wish we had that for the last 2 years, because this renovation,
this guy would be in it. He'd want to be in the TV show. This is Jagger, hey buddy. He's like, mom and dad.
Get out of the way, Dad. It's my time.
Honestly, you know what? I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to it. It's not something we've ever talked about, but like, if there was ever a time, these last 2 years were definitely the ones: wedding planning, COVID, renovating. It was like, we should have just filmed it for ourselves. But you know what? We got the memories.
You have the personal memories. Well, I know I got to get you guys out of here, but last question. You attended the Barbie premiere. I loved your reaction, JoJo. What was the most mind-blowing moment for you being on the red carpet? Because I know you said it was like an out-of-body experience.
Margot Robbie, it's so stunning. He thought I was going to, so is Ryan Gosling, but he thought I was going to have a full-blown meltdown over Ryan. I was just staring at Margot Robbie and like, I couldn't even speak. She smiled at me and I couldn't even make a facial expression back.
She froze.
And I don't get like that. I don't know what even happened, but no, it was like, it was so beautiful, it was so epic. And I've always been a big fan of her, but she is just so graceful and so beautiful and so talented. It's like, she was amazing.
Ryan Gosling's a babe.
The whole cast was amazing to watch. We actually really enjoyed watching that movie.